les advierto firmemente que no hagan ninguna declaración sobre los hechos de su caso mientras estén aquí.
Last thing before we get started is that all of the information that I give you while you are in the courtroom will be contained in a written document called a release order that you will get a copy of when you step back into that room.
Lo último es que toda la información que les voy a dar va a estar en una hoja de papel que se llama orden de puesta en libertad. Deben llevarse esa hoja y no perderla.
Hey, Snow.
Please keep that paperwork with you wherever you go from here this morning. In that paperwork will be all of the information you got in the courtroom.
It does take.
Llévense esa hoja.
Hey, Snow, do you remember that one time that we were in Connecticut and we saw that the broke man's DJ Khaled, the dude that had the penciled in Sharpie beard?
Okay, let's go ahead and get started on the docket. Can I please have Emilio Vasquez all the way into the courtroom? Carlos Ramon Villegas, if you would work your way to the chair.
Emilio Flores Vázquez, si puede pasar hasta el podio adentro, y el nombre de la siguiente persona también que puede tomar asiento en la silla de afuera.
Good times, good times. Next.
Okay, I'm going to start by asking you to state your full name and date of birth, please. When you do that, if you could pull your mask down just while you're speaking, you can put it back up when you're done.
Le voy a pedir que diga su nombre completo y fecha de nacimiento. Debe jalar la mascarilla hacia abajo para eso y luego se la puede poner otra vez. Adelante.
Name and date of birth, please.
Nombre y fecha de nacimiento, por favor.
Emilio Vázquez.
Emilio Vázquez.
September 20th, 03.
In Spanish.
¿En español?
In Spanish, please.
En español, por favor.
You don't speak Spanish? Okay. If you'll switch places then here with Mr. Villegas. Mr. Villegas, do you need a Spanish interpreter?
Señor Villegas, ¿usted necesita intérprete?
This is some reverse Uno type of stuff.
Yeah. Okay, if you'll switch with him, I'll do you. I have you marked as requiring an interpreter. So if you don't speak Spanish, I'll do you after I get the Spanish matters done. Sorry about that, Mr. Vasquez.
I gotta clip that one.
Okay, can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Bueno, señor, ¿me puede dar su nombre y fecha de nacimiento, por favor?
Carlos Alonso Ramos Villegas, 17 de febrero del 76.
Carlos Alonso Ramos Villegas, February 17th, 1976.
Thank you very much, sir. You are here on allegations of new charges.
Usted está aquí.
What do you guys think this guy did? This bad hombre did. Kangaroo court.
The allegations against you are 2 counts of theft of a means of transportation, both class 3 felonies.
Tiene 2 acusaciones nuevas, ambas son hurto de un medio de transporte, son delitos mayores de categoría 3.
I have found probable cause to support one of those allegations. I have not found probable cause to support the second allegation.
Ya determiné que hay motivo fundado para respaldar una de las acusaciones, pero no determiné que hay motivo fundado para respaldar la otra acusación.
I have appointed a lawyer to defend you.
He nombrado un abogado para representarlo.
Your next court hearings will be a status conference January 30th and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd, both at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown.
Hay 2 audiencias que se han programado para usted. La primera es una consulta de actualización y luego una audiencia preliminar. La primera va a ser el 30 de enero, la segunda el 3 de febrero, ambas a las 8:30 en el juzgado del Tribunal Superior que se encuentra en el centro de Phoenix.
On the allegation that I have found probable cause to support, I have imposed a $1,500 secured appearance bond.
En cuanto a la acusación de la que determina que hay motivo fundado, he impuesto una fianza de $1,500 de caución real.
If you post that bond and you're released from custody, you cannot return to the scene where the alleged theft took place, and you cannot have contact with any alleged victims or witnesses.
Si usted deposita la fianza y sale en libertad, le prohíbo que vaya al lugar de los supuestos hechos y que no puede tener ningún contacto con ninguna presunta víctima.
Thank you for the follow.
Do you understand those conditions?
¿Entiende usted esas condiciones?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ramos. You can step back and get your paperwork.
Gracias, señor Ramos. Puede tomar sus papeles.
Not in
Mr.
Arizona.
Interpreter, he is now the only one I had marked as requesting a Spanish interpreter, but since it sounds like there might have been a little mishap there, would you mind making an inquiry of the gallery, please, just to make sure we don't miss anybody that might require your assistance?
Right, no problem. Buenos días, damas y caballeros. Si hay alguien más que necesite intérprete en español, levante la mano, por favor.
Aquí. Español, por favor.
Sounds like we have one more.
Okay.
Yeah, they got me.
Could I please ask that Tommy send the email me the information for that one, even if it's not right now in time. I just need it for our records, please.
She gave me a thumbs up, so she's indicating she will do that.
They heard.
Did you get his name? No.
I did, but it didn't seem right.
Okay. Come on in, sir.
Pase, señor. Pase acá adentro.
Next, hey, what do you guys think this gentleman did?
Can I have your full name, please?
Emojis.
Abraham Javier Aragón.
¿Me puede dar su nombre completo, por favor?
Abraham Javier Aragón.
Sí, señor.
Javier Abraham Aragón. Perdón.
11-20 del 94.
11-20, 94 dijo. 1994.
Sí, 11-20 del 94.
11-20,
1994.
Yeah, he is a good interpreter.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Aragon. And officer, he's 25.
25.
Señor Aragón, muchas gracias. Y para la gente es el número 25.
Okay, Mr. Aragon, you are here on a failure to appear warrant issued by the El Centro Justice Court.
Señor Aragón está aquí por no presentarse a una audiencia y se promulgó la orden de arresto del juzgado del centro, el juzgado de paz.
The underlying allegation in that case is a misdemeanor driving on a suspended license allegation.
La acusación original es
but we make it
un
into a
menor de
game, if you
manejar
will.
con la licencia suspendida.
Hey, thank you for that badge. Highly appreciate it.
Because that allegation is a misdemeanor allegation, the nature of that charge does not entitle you to a court-appointed lawyer.
Debido a que es un
Get the
delito
popcorn
menor,
ready.
Entonces no se puede nombrar un abogado de
That guy,
oficio
the sheriff,
para
he
representarlo
looks like
aquí.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
If you wish to be represented by a lawyer in that case, you will have to hire a lawyer at your own expense.
Si desea que la ayuda de un abogado para representarlo, en este caso tendrá que pagarle usted por su cuenta.
Gonna take a ride.
Your next court hearing on that case will be an arraignment hearing February 13th at 8:30 in the morning in the El Centro Justice Court.
Su próxima audiencia va a ser una lectura de acusaciones el 13 de febrero a las 8:30 en el juzgado de paz, el centro.
I am releasing you on your own recognizance, so you will be released from custody, and it will be your responsibility to get yourself to that hearing February 13th at 8:30.
Lo estoy dejando salir hoy bajo su palabra, así que va a ser responsabilidad de usted buscar cómo llegar a esa audiencia el 13 de febrero.
Called it.
Once you are out of custody, you are ordered not to operate a motor vehicle if you don't have a valid driver's license.
Una vez que sale en libertad, se le ordena que no maneje ningún vehículo motorizado, a menos que tenga una licencia de manejar válida.
Do you understand those conditions?
¿Entiende usted esas condiciones? Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Aragon. You can step back and get your
Gracias, señor
paperwork.
Aragón. Puede pasar a tomar sus papeles. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Interpreter. I think that concludes our Spanish matters. You are always free to remain to observe the calendar, but you are also free to be excused if you wish.
Thank you so much.
I think they're sheriffs, Martin.
Okay, you too. Thank you, sir. Emilio Vasquez, if you would work your way back into the courtroom, please. Matthew Williams, if I could ask you to work your way to the chair. Come on in, sir.
Let's see what Emilio Vasquez
did. Okay, my apologies for that. I had you marked as requiring an interpreter, so I apologize. Can I ask you to restate your name and date of birth?
No Nintendo.
Emilio Vasquez, 09-20-03.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vasquez. You are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are 2 counts of aggravated assault using a simulated deadly weapon. They are both Class 3 felonies. 1 count of criminal damage, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, 1 count of criminal speeding, and 2 counts of endangerment. All of those last allegations are Class 1 misdemeanors. I have found probable cause to support those allegations, and I've appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference January 30th and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd. They will both be in the Superior Court downtown at 8:30 in the morning. Mr. Vasquez, based in part on a written recommendation from the Maricopa County Attorney's Office, I have imposed a $50,000 secured appearance bond on these allegations. Secured appearance means that you can use a bonding company to post that bond if you choose to. If you do post that bond and you are released from custody, you are ordered not to have contact with any alleged victims, witnesses, or co-defendants of any of the underlying allegations. You cannot possess any weapons if you're released. That is true of real or simulated weapons. And you cannot possess or consume any alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vasquez. You can step back and get your paperwork.
Emilio ain't going
Matthew
nowhere.
Williams to the podium in the courtroom, please. Kira Eastman, if you would please work your way to the chair.
And I had to give him a 3-star status on GTA 5 because, man, he's definitely with the business.
Give me 1 second, if you would, please, sir.
Yeah.
All right, what do you guys think this gentleman's here for? Emojis preferably.
Okay, can I please have your name and date of birth?
Matthew Richard Williams, December 15, 2006.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williams. And I understand that I have private counsel on the line for you for purposes of this hearing. Assuming that's true, can I please have appearance of counsel, please?
That is correct, Your Honor. Rochelle Ferraro of Craig Rosenstein's office on behalf of defendant.
How many GTA status?
Good morning, Ms. Ferraro. Thank you for being here.
Should I give him?
Of course.
Okay, Mr. Williams, you're here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are 1 count of reckless driving and 2 counts of causing criminal damage. They are all Class 1 misdemeanors. Ms. Ferraro, I am inclined, based on my reading of the Form 4, to find probable cause to support these allegations. Before I officially do that, is there anything you wish to supplement or wish the court to consider in regards to probable cause?
Your Honor, at this point, nothing with regard to probable cause. We do have some exculpatory information that we're trying to gather, and we do intend to present, but I'm not in a position that I can do that at this moment.
We'll give him a 1-star.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Ferraro.
Would I give him a half
I am
a star?
finding probable cause to support those allegations. Mr. Williams, I do note that Ms. Ferraro is on the line and appearing for you for purposes of this hearing. My understanding is that her appearance was limited to this hearing. You have every right to make an agreement with her office or any other private lawyer going forward. If you do not make an agreement with a private lawyer going forward in this case, because the underlying allegations are misdemeanor allegations, you will not be entitled to a court-appointed lawyer. So if you don't make an agreement with a private lawyer for any hearings after this one, you will not be represented. Your next court hearing in this case will be an arraignment hearing February 13th. It'll be at 9 o'clock in the morning. It will be in the Peoria Municipal Court. Ms. Ferraro, before I consider or impose any release conditions in this case, would you like to make argument or recommendation to the court?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to ask the court to release him in his own recognizance. As the court can tell from his date of birth, he's just barely 18 years old by a little bit over a month. He is a senior in high school. He's never been in trouble before with the law, with school, anything like that. His father is the vice principal at the high school that he attends.
Oh, interesting.
I know that the Form 4 references other individuals that were present and in the vehicle. Those are other students that he goes to school with.
Got that
in fact,
money.
they've all been friends for a very long time. I know that the court typically does put in place release conditions that prevent contact with co-defendants, victims, witnesses, anything like that. I would ask the court with regards to those individuals that were present. Again, Matthew does go to school with them. He actually plays sports with a couple of them currently. He's doing an English project with one of them right now that they have to turn in at some point. I would ask the court to, if you're going to impose some sort of restrictions on his contact, that it be that they can't discuss this matter, but obviously they go to school together and they're going to have to work together on a team as well as with homework, and assignments. Back to Mr. Williams in general. Again, he's an athlete. He's currently playing, he plays multiple sports. He and the other kids involved are all really good students. They're all intending to go to college. In fact, Matthew has been accepted in the 6 schools that he's applied to. He's a senior this year. He's also received scholarships. Not only have they never been in trouble before, they're also very active in the community. Matthew took part in the MLK Day of Service, volunteering all day. They're really
a nice fella.
Considered leaders in their school.
Oh, super leaders.
There's no allegations whatsoever about drugs or alcohol being involved. I think just looking at this, it's just, potentially kids made really bad decision. Young kids made a really bad decision, but for the most part, these are really good kids that have never gotten into trouble before. Extremely supportive families. No reason to believe that that he's a flight risk at all. No reason to believe that he's not going to comply with any other conditions of release. I don't think it's necessary to impose anything more onerous than release on his own recognizance. His family's been in touch with me. They were out to the scene in the middle of the night. They've been in touch with me since then. They're very anxious to get him home. He's indicated, I did have the ability to speak with him. He hurt his knee. Again, he's an athlete and potentially has a scholarship. I know this court can't expedite any kind of processing and release, but to the extent that you can put in some sort of a word to see if they can expedite that along, his parents would like to get him into urgent care.
We don't want him to be corrupted in the system by spending the night in county lockup.
Mr. Williams, I have heard the argument of your lawyer. I do understand that based on your age and your apparent lack of interaction with the criminal justice system that your lawyer has represented, and I agree that you don't pose a substantial risk of danger to the general community. I also, at this point in the proceedings, don't have any concern about your willingness to voluntarily surrender to the court proceedings. So I am going to release you on your own recognizance. I will impose a no criminal damage victim contact order. So what that means is there's 2 counts alleged against you of causing criminal damage for what I understand to damage to landscaping and yards. So those particular alleged victims you cannot initiate contact with in any fashion. Other witnesses or potential co-defendants in this case, I think those are the people your lawyer indicated might be your classmates or colleagues. Those people you can have contact with, but you cannot discuss the substance of this criminal case with any of those people.
Should she let him go?
Once you're out of custody, you also cannot possess any alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. Okay, Ms. Ferrero, to the extent it does any good, officer, his lawyer has requested an expedition in the release process for what we can do with that. Okay, anything else I need to address in this matter, Ms. Ferrero?
No, Your Honor, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Williams, you can go ahead and step back to your left. I did make a couple changes to your order, so we'll get it reprinted and we'll bring it out to you when it's ready. We'll make sure your lawyer gets a copy as well.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. May I be excused?
Thank you. Yes, you may, Ms. Ferrero. Thank you for being here. Kira Eastman to the podium in the courtroom, please. Isaac Brown to the chair.
Isaac's getting this is Arizona, Maricopa County.
Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Kira Eastman, 09-1306.
Thank you, Ms. Eastman. You are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are 1 count of causing criminal damage, a Class 5 felony, and 1 count of criminal trespassing in a residential structure, a Class 6 felony.
Is that Macaulay Culkin?
I have found probable cause to support those allegations, and I've appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference January 30th, and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd. Both of those will be at 8:30 in the morning in the Superior Court downtown. Because these are felony offenses alleged to have been committed while you were on pretrial release in a different felony matter, you are not eligible for release on bond. You will be held in custody without bail, at least until an evidentiary hearing is held. That hearing is going to take place January 31st at 1:30 in the afternoon. Between now and that hearing on the 31st, you will remain in custody without bond. Do you understand that information?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Eastman. You can step back and get your paperwork. Isaac Brown to the podium in the courtroom, please. Jalen Hicks to the chair.
What? You're getting younger and younger.
Good morning, sir. Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Isaac Brown, September 6, 1981.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brown. You are here on an allegation of a new charge. That allegation is 1 count of possession of possession of a weapon by a prohibited person. It is a Class 4 felony. I have found probable cause to support that allegation, and I've appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference January 30th, and then you'll have a preliminary hearing February 3rd. Both of them will be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On this allegation, I have imposed a $75,000 secured appearance bond. Secured appearance means you can use a bonding company to post that bond if you choose to. If you do post that bond and you are released from custody, you cannot possess any weapons once you're released from custody. Do you understand those conditions?
So there's no possibility of OR?
Not at this time, no.
$75,000.
$75,000 secured appearance.
75?
You can use a bonding company.
It means $750.
Well, my general understanding is that
Matthew.
bonding companies will require somewhere between 10 and 20% up front. 10% of $75,000 would be $7,500, so $7,500. And I don't know that that's what they would require. So if you want to go that route, if you want to consider using a bonding company, I would say find a list of the names and phone numbers of those companies when you get back into the jail, and you can call one of them, two of them, you can call all of them on that list. See what their specific requirements are before you elect to go that route. Don't take my word for it.
I don't have that type of money.
I'm sorry?
I don't have that type of money.
We'll talk to some bonding companies. But you do have to get that bond posted somehow in order to secure your release from custody.
There's no lowering it?
I'm not willing to lower it, no. You could petition the next court you see for a modification of that, and if that court and your lawyer think it's appropriate, you might get a bond reduction then, but at least between now and your first hearing on the 30th, that $75,000 will be your bond.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. You can step back.
Hey, Judge, let him hold the dollars. Throw him a couple dollars.
To the
What's
podium
up?
in the courtroom, please. Shauna Kirkemeyer to the chair.
Kirkemeyer. Shauna Kirkemeyer.
Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
My name is Jalen Dwayne Tracy Hicks. Date of birth is 08/26/2002.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hicks. You are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are one count of aggravated assault by impeding breathing, that is a Class 4 felony, and one count of assault, a Class 3 misdemeanor. I have found probable cause to support those allegations, and I've appointed a lawyer to defend you.
Gonna have to give
Your
him
next
4 stars.
court hearings will be a status conference January 30th, and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd. Both of them will be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On these allegations, I have imposed a $25,000 secured appearance bond. If you post that bond prior to your release from custody, you will be affixed with an ankle monitor. If you post that bond and you are released on an ankle monitor, you are ordered not to return to the scene where the underlying alleged events took place. You cannot have contact with any alleged victims or witnesses. You are ordered not to possess any weapons, drugs without a valid prescription, or consume any alcohol if you're released from custody. And whether or not you are released from custody, you are ordered to strictly comply with the terms of any orders of protection that have been or might later be served upon you. Do you understand those conditions?
I do understand. But I have a question.
Okay.
One of my questions was, if I do live with those people, then and I can't interact or I can't be with them, then and I have nobody else within the state that I can stay with, then what do I do then?
So here's the deal. You can't go back to that location, no contact with the alleged victims or witnesses. If that means that I'm ordering you not to return to your primary residence, then you have a choice to make. You can post that bond and find somewhere else to go, at least until your first hearing on the 30th, or you can elect not to post that bond and stay in custody at least until the 30th. So that choice will be up to you, but if you are released from custody, you cannot go back to the location where this allegedly took place.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions?
And then for the bond, all the information for the court date will be on the paper, right?
That's right, yep.
Okay. And then for the bond, if I do decide to go that route, then I'll have to call while I'm in custody, or will I be released?
Well, the bond has to be posted prior to your release. So you would, somehow have to try and figure out how to get that posted while you're still in custody.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anything else?
And one last thing, and if I do get released and I can't go to that residency, I can't go out of state either?
That's right, you have to stay in Arizona.
Okay.
This is all at least until your first court hearing. Once you get to the judge that's going to see you on the underlying allegations that will hear you on the facts of the matter, that judge can make more permanent orders, and if that judge finds it's appropriate to allow you to travel out of state, that judge can change that at that time.
Okay.
So you're just looking at these as a temporary release conditions between now and the 30th.
Okay, and then what's the date?
Today's the 26th.
25th, okay.
All right, thank you, sir. You can step back and get your paperwork. Shauna Kirkemeyer to the podium in the courtroom, please. Christopher Asuna Garcia to the chair. Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Shauna Lynn Kirkemeyer, 518-883.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kirkemeyer. You are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are 2 counts of driving under the influence, 1 a Class 4 felony, 1 a Class 1 misdemeanor, 2 counts of extreme driving under the influence, both Class 1 misdemeanors, and 1 count of possessing an open container of liquor in a vehicle, that's a Class 2 misdemeanor. I have found probable cause to support those allegations, and I've appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference January 30th, and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd. Both of them will be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On these allegations, I have imposed a $10,000 secured appearance bond. If you post that bond and you are released from custody, you cannot possess or consume any alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. And so long as this criminal case remains pending, you cannot operate a motor vehicle under any circumstances. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. You can step back and you have a question?
I do have a question.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Is there a way to not have to post a bond?
No, you do have to post that bond in order to be eligible for release.
Okay, there's no way that we can just do it on my own recognizance?
I'm not willing to do that based on the nature of the charge and the fact that this did result in potential victims because of a vehicle accident.
But there was no victim.
The law enforcement is telling me otherwise.
Okay, but there was no one else involved.
Okay, talk to your lawyer about the underlying facts of the case.
Okay, so I have to stay in custody?
Unless you post that bond, you'll stay in custody until the 30th, yes. Okay, thank you, Ms. Kirkemeyer. You can step back and get your paperwork.
Kirkemeyer, goodbye to you. Good day to you.
Christopher Asuna Garcia to the podium in the courtroom, please. Lacey Brayton to the chair.
Hey, don't forget to follow. It's free 99. Doesn't cost you anything.
Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Christopher Asuna Garcia, 02/12/1999.
Thank you very much. You are here on a grand jury warrant. A state grand jury was convened and found probable cause to return an indictment against you. That indictment contains 3 counts of possession of a weapon by a prohibited person. All 3 are Class 4 felonies. All 3 alleged to have been committed July 19th of 2024. I have appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearing will be an arraignment hearing January 31st at 8:30 downtown, and you have a $15,000 secured appearance bond on that warrant. If you post that bond and you're released, you cannot possess any weapons once you're released from custody. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. You can step back and get your paperwork.
I have a quick question.
Oh, okay.
Is that okay? What was it, the 3 counts for?
Possession of a weapon by a prohibited person.
But why 3 counts?
I don't know. The grand jury is the one that heard the presentation of evidence, so ask your lawyer that question.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah.
This is Arizona.
Lacey Bratton to the podium in the courtroom, please.
What's
Brian
up?
Coffey
Is that
to the chair.
Dapper D? You're right here live and direct with the Brown. Steve Harvey.
Can
And
I
this
have
is
your name and date of birth,
Arizona.
please?
Lacey Bratton, 214/88.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bratton. You are here on an arrest warrant issued by the Pinal County Superior Court in an existing felony drug case. I don't know whether Pinal County has determined you're entitled to a court-appointed lawyer or not. If they have, and you've already been given a lawyer, that lawyer will continue to work with you and represent you. If not, a lawyer will be appointed for you at your next court hearing. That hearing will be an arraignment hearing January 29th. It'll be at 8:30 in the morning in the Pinal County Superior Court, and you have a $7,500 secured appearance bond on that warrant. If you post that bond and you're released, you cannot possess any weapons or drugs without a valid prescription once you're released. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. You can step back and get your paperwork. Brian Coffey to the podium in the courtroom, please. Clifford Harrison to the chair.
Coffee. Hey, tap, tap, tap. Hey, let's get to that 200K. We're at 181.
Can I
What's
have your
up?
name and date of birth, please, sir?
Brian Coffey, 6/20/1974.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coffey. You are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are 1 count of dangerous drug possession, a Class 4 felony, 1 count of criminal trespassing, 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession. Those 2 are Class 6 felonies. 1 count of assault, 1 count of criminal damage, both Class 1 misdemeanors, and 1 count of assault as a Class 3 misdemeanor. I have found probable cause to support all of those offenses with the exception of the dangerous drug allegation. I did not find probable cause to support that allegation. I have appointed a lawyer to represent you. That lawyer will defend you against any charges that are formally filed as a result of this arrest. Your next court hearings will be a status conference January 30th and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd. Both of them will be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. I have imposed a $5,000 secured appearance bond on these allegations. If you post that bond and you're released from custody, you cannot return to the scene where any of the alleged underlying offenses took place. You cannot have contact with any alleged victims or witnesses. You are ordered not to possess any weapons or to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription if you're released. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Coffey.
I have a question.
Okay.
I'm in the middle of a 7th-month outpatient program with COPA. I've been an alcoholic for 30 years, and I've been sober from that for at least the last year.
I would have never guessed it.
I've been unemployed this whole year. I have no means of raising money for a bond.
Okay.
Is there any chance I could be released on my own recognizance?
Hell no.
This is 30 years I've been an alcoholic, and I haven't had a drink in over a year. This is very important to me, this outpatient program. A lot of underlying psychoses have come to surface by not drinking, and I've been tackling those. And there's no way I'm going to be able to do that when I'm in custody.
Okay, here's what I'll tell you, Mr. Coffey. I do acknowledge and commend your efforts in getting yourself from, it sounds like, where you were to where you are right now. Because of the nature of these allegations, because they involve victims and potential harm to individuals, I do find that without a bond, you would be a danger to at least those victims. So I'm not willing to modify that. You will have to post that bond in order to be eligible for release. Same thing I told another individual, those conditions will apply at least until your first hearing on the 30th.
One of the victims made it so I have no cell phone, I have no phone numbers for anyone to be able to contact.
Okay, that's not something that I can help you with. I don't have the authority to get you a phone or get numbers for you.
So the last year of me being sober has just been thrown away because I won't be able to get any treatment inside over the next 5 days.
Well, while you're in custody, your medical care is the responsibility of the sheriff's office. So to the extent you think there is something medical can help you with, you can communicate that to medical staff in the facility that you end up in. Any other questions, Mr. Coffey?
How much was the bond again?
It's $5,000 secured appearance.
So $50 price?
$500.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
His math is not mathy.
Harrison to the podium in the courtroom, please. Robert Lynch to the chair.
Robert, damn, it's busy today. It's like nonstop, back to back.
Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Cold, he's shivering.
87.
Oh, he got the blues.
Brown Harrison.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Harrison. You are here on 4 different matters. All 4 of them are probation violation warrants. In all 4 cases, petitions to revoke your probation have been filed. All of them allege that you have violated terms 6, 7, and 12 of your probation. In all 4 of these cases, I have appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearing will be a revocation arraignment hearing January 31st at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. And on all 4 of these warrants, you have a total bond of $7,000. It's $2,500 on 2 of the warrants, $1,500 on 1, $500 on the 4th. So total is $7,000, all secured appearance. If you post that and you're released, you cannot possess any weapons or drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Harrison. You can step back and get your paperwork.
Oh, man, he's going to be puking. He's going to be puking and all over the place. Oh, it's going to be ugly. Super ugly. It's going to be something ugly. Ugh. It's going to smell like death.
Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Robert Kelly Lynch. 06/2092.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lynch. You are here on 2 probation violation warrants. In both cases, petitions to revoke your probation have been filed. Both of them allege that you have violated terms 3, 4, and 15 of your probation. I have appointed a lawyer for you in both cases. Your next court hearing will be a revocation arraignment hearing January 31st at 8:30 in the probation court downtown. And you have a total secured appearance bond of $4,000 on these 2 warrants. It's $2,500 on one, $1,500 on the other. Again, $4,000 total secured appearance. If you post that and you are released, you cannot possess any weapons or drugs without a valid prescription once you're out. Do you understand those conditions?
Yeah, except so the last couple of times and
last couple times.
So I'm supposed to go to mental health court.
Okay, talk to the probation court about this. So this is a limited court just to give you initial release conditions on your warrant. Once you get to the probation judge, it's the probation judge that will have the authority to divert your case to mental health or order you to mental health proceedings.
So I have to wait until I actually see the judge there. I can't just, there's no way to contact before, like while I'm in jail, or?
You can try to contact the public defender's office to help you get in contact with a mental health court or a mental health practitioner. The public defender's phone number will be in your release order. If you have immediate mental health needs,
my probation is that's my probation. So.
Okay, you could talk to your probation officer too. While you are in a facility, whether it's here or somewhere else, if you don't post that bond, if you have immediate mental health needs, you can always ask whatever facility you're in to have mental health come see you.
So you said, well, are you talking about in-house probation?
You, Frank Cole.
I don't know what you mean.
I tried. You can't call through to probation officers' numbers in jail.
In there, you'll have the direct number to adult probation. If you can't use that,
right? Okay, that's what you're saying.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions?
No, that's fine.
Okay, thank you, sir. You can step back and get your paperwork.
Tony White Road.
Michael Bob
Is he wearing his high school varsity, high school jacket?
Jonathan Soto, if you would please work your way to the chair.
Hey, thank you for the follow.
Can I
appreciate you guys.
Michael John Bosnowski.
And your date of birth.
3097.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bosmowski. You are here on 2 probation violation warrants. In both cases, petitions to revoke your probation have been filed. They both allege that you have violated terms 3 and 5. I have appointed a lawyer to represent you in both cases. Your next court hearing will be a revocation arraignment January 31st. It'll be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. And on these 2 warrants, you have a total secured appearance bond of $2,500. It is $1,000 on one of the warrants, $1,500 on the second. So $2,500 total, all secured appearance. If you post that and you are released, you cannot possess any weapons or drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, sir. You can step back and get your paperwork.
Yes, it is.
Jonathan Soto to the podium in the courtroom, please. Martine Iglesias to the chair. Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Not 3 and 5.
4694.
Thank you very much, Mr. Soto.
Snap.
You are here on an allegation of a new charge. That allegation is 1 count of criminal trespassing in a residential structure. It is a Class 6 felony. I have found probable cause to support that allegation, and I've appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference January 30th, and then a preliminary hearing February 3rd, both of them at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On this allegation, I have imposed a $1,000 secured appearance bond. If you post that and you're released from custody, you cannot go back to the scene where you were allegedly trespassing, and you cannot possess any drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, sir. You can step back and get your paperwork.
Hey,
Martine Iglesias,
tap. If you're not tapping, you must be nappy. Let's get to that let's get to that 200K. I don't think we ever got that before. This is gonna be a record. Let's get us to the FYP.
Martin Iglesias,
Mechudo.
December 14, 1993.
Thank you very much, Mr. Iglesias. You are here on a probation violation warrant. A petition to revoke your probation was filed alleging that you have violated terms 3 and 5 of your probation. I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Your next court hearing will be a revocation arraignment hearing January 31st. It'll be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On that warrant, you have a $1,000 secured appearance bond. If you post that and you're released, you cannot possess any weapons or any drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions? Okay, thank you, sir. You can step back and get your paperwork. Jordan Kuntz to the podium in the courtroom, please.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Alvarez or Emmanuel Alvarez, if you would work your way to the chair, please. Come on in, Mr. Kuntz.
Hey, sharing is caring. Hey, don't forget to share it with your loved ones. Even share with those that you don't love. Por favor.
0215-1989.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kuntz. You are here on an allegation of a new charge. The allegation is 1 count of criminal trespassing.
Yes,
it is a Class 3 misdemeanor. Because that is a misdemeanor allegation, the nature of that charge does not entitle you to a court-appointed lawyer. What that means is if you wish to be represented against that allegation, you will have to hire a lawyer at your own expense. Your next court hearing on this allegation will be an arraignment hearing February 12th. It'll be at 11 o'clock in the morning in the Maryvale Justice Court. I am releasing you on your own recognizance, so you will be responsible for getting yourself to that next court hearing. And once you're out of custody, you cannot return to the scene where you were allegedly trespassing. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kuntz. You can step back and get your paperwork.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, little mama.
Or Emmanuel Alvarez, if you would work your way.
But we don't do
courtroom,
workman's
please.
comp around
Brian
here.
Diaz to the chair. Alvarez, Emmanuel.
Emmanuel.
Will you hunt him down and I'll call Mr. Diaz? Mr. Diaz, come on into the courtroom. Thanks for being ready.
Steve Arvino. Don't forget to follow.
Brian Anthony Diaz, 11/11/2000.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz. You are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are 1 count of disorderly conduct and 1 count of assault. They are both Class 1 misdemeanors. I have found probable cause to support those allegations. I've also determined that you are entitled to a court-appointed lawyer to defend you. That lawyer is going to be appointed for you by the next judge you see at your next court hearing. That hearing will be an arraignment hearing February 19th. It'll be at 1:30 in the afternoon in the Surprise Municipal Court. I am releasing you on your own recognizance, so you will be responsible for getting yourself to that court hearing. Once you are released from custody, you cannot return to the scene where either of the underlying alleged offenses took place. You cannot have contact with any alleged victims or witnesses of those offenses, and you cannot possess any weapons, drugs without a valid prescription, or consume any alcohol once you're released from custody. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Diaz. You can step back and get your paperwork.
I have a question.
Sure.
If the alleged victim chooses to drop the case, would that happen at court, and would that be able to be dropped?
So at this point in the proceedings, whether or not charges are filed will be up to the county attorney's office. I don't know whether the county attorney takes into account an alleged victim's wishes. So I don't know whether the county attorney will elect not to charge if the alleged victim says they don't wish to pursue charges.
The state's picking it up.
But if you find out that's the case, the alleged victims do have the opportunity to provide their input to the county attorney's office. Keep in mind, you cannot have contact with them, though. So don't reach out to any alleged victim and encourage them to ask for charges to be dropped or not to be brought. But if they elect to provide that information to the county attorney's office, they have the right to do that. And then what the county attorney will or won't do with that will be up to the individual lawyer that's reviewing this case for charging.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. You can step back and get your paperwork.
What didn't he do? Hey, the state's...
Emmanuel Alvarez,
the state's going to pick up his fight.
To the podium, please.
Are you an officer?
I'm sorry, then can I have
yes,
Joey Costello to the chair?
Nah, I'm just a random dude on TikTok.
Birth, please?
1603.
What's your name?
Mario Alvarez.
Your first name is Emmanuel, your last name is Alvarez?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. You are here on 2 different matters. The first matter that you're here on alleges 1 count of theft of a means of transportation, a Class 3 felony. On that felony offense, I have found probable cause and appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next hearings on the felony will be a status conference February 10th and then a preliminary hearing February 12th, both of them at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. The second matter that you're here on is an allegation of a new misdemeanor offense. That allegation is 1 count of false reporting to law enforcement. It's a Class 1 misdemeanor. On that false reporting allegation, because it is a misdemeanor, you're not entitled to a court-appointed lawyer. If you wish to have a lawyer defend you against the misdemeanor allegation, you will have to hire a lawyer for that case. Your next hearing on the misdemeanor allegation will be an arraignment hearing February 12th, that one at 8:30, that one at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock in the Wickenburg Municipal Court. On both of these matters, I am releasing you on your own recognizance, so it will be your responsibility to get yourself to all of those court hearings. Once you are released from custody, you are ordered not to have any contact with the alleged victim of the theft allegation or any witnesses. You're also ordered not to possess any drugs without a valid prescription. Understand all of those conditions?
Yawn. Super
Thank
tired.
you, Mr. Alvarez. You can step back and get your
That's
paperwork.
a super duper long yawn.
Joey Costello to the podium in the courtroom, please. Tyrese Walletto to the chair. Tyrus? It might be Tyrus.
This is live. This is today. This is happening right now.
Hi,
in
can
real
I have your
time.
name and date of birth, please?
Yes, Joey Costello, 041799.
Thank you very much, Mr. Costello. You are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are 1 count of assault and 1 count of disorderly conduct. They are both Class 1 misdemeanors. I have found probable cause to support both allegations, and I have determined you are entitled to a court-appointed lawyer. That lawyer will be appointed for you by the next judge you see at your next court hearing. That hearing will be an arraignment hearing February 19th. It'll be at 1:30 in the afternoon in the Surprise Municipal Court. I am releasing you on your own recognizance. Once you are released from custody, you are ordered not to have contact with any alleged victims of either underlying offense. You cannot possess any weapons, drugs without a valid prescription, or consume any alcohol if you're released from custody. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Costello. You can step back and get your paperwork.
They have court in Arizona every
You'll
single
be released
day.
Probably within the next several hours.
Every day in Arizona, they have court 365 days a year.
Or Tyrese Walletto to the
Arizona,
podium in the courtroom,
Maricopa
please.
County.
Officers, is Sean Mendel in here, or do we need to go get him when it's his
Sunday,
turn?
tomorrow too. Yeah, I'll be
He's
here tomorrow.
Okay, you can
nice
work
and
your way
early.
to the chair then, please, sir. Okay, can I have your name and date of birth?
Tyrese Walletto, 07-15-96.
What do you guys? What did
Pronounce
you
your
do?
last name again for me, please.
What did he do?
Walletto. Okay, thank you. I apologize. I misheard you. All right, Mr. Walletto, you are here on a felony warrant issued by the state of New Mexico.
No, man.
Before you were put on a court calendar here in Arizona, New Mexico confirmed with Arizona that that is a valid warrant and they are willing to extradite you. That means New Mexico wants to come to Arizona and take you back to New Mexico. Before you came into the courtroom, did you get a big laminated card?
No, I didn't.
Officer, you didn't get the FOJ card?
Oh.
I sure did.
He did? Okay, you got that card?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Did you read it?
Somewhat skimmed it.
Were you given an opportunity to review it if you wish to?
Yeah, I was.
Okay. All right. As I indicated, you are here because because the state of New Mexico has issued a warrant for your arrest. Because New Mexico wants to extradite you, you will have a choice to make at this hearing. You can choose to waive your right to an extradition hearing and agree to go back to New Mexico, or you can elect not to waive your right to an extradition hearing and demand to have an extradition hearing held here in Arizona, and demand that the governor of Arizona and the governor of New Mexico sign warrants prior to your extradition to New Mexico. If you pick that first option and you waive your right to an extradition hearing, you will be held in custody here in Arizona for up to 30 days with no bond to allow New Mexico an opportunity to come get you. That 30-day time clock will start ticking tomorrow unless you have local charges pending anywhere in Arizona that are unresolved. If you do, that 30-day time period will not start ticking until the local charges reach disposition. So the first choice you can make is to waive your right to an extradition hearing and agree to go back to New Mexico, stay in custody for up to 30 days, no bond. If you don't pick that option, your second option is to demand to have an extradition hearing held. If you pick that second option, I will set a hearing for February 3rd. It'll be at 1:30 in the afternoon. Extradition proceedings in Arizona are civil, not criminal. That means that I cannot appoint a lawyer to represent you in the extradition proceedings if you elect to have a hearing, but you do have the right to hire a lawyer to represent you if you pick that second option and you wish to be represented.
They haven't said
If you
what he
pick
did.
that second option and I set that hearing, you are eligible for release on bond. Your bond would be set at $50,000 secured appearance. If you posted that bond, you would be eligible for release. While the extradition proceedings are taking place, you would be required to stay in Arizona. If you did not or could not post that bond, you would stay in custody while the extradition proceedings are taking place. If you pick option 2, that the time period between your initial hearing and getting governor's warrant signed could take up to 90 days. That $50,000 secured appearance bond remains in place for that whole period. Do you understand the two different options? Do you know which one you'd like to pick?
Door number 1.
My court date for if I choose the second one's February 3rd.
That's right, February 3rd at 1:30 in the afternoon.
1:30 in the afternoon.
You don't want to go back.
I have I'm working right now. Could I be eligible for ankle monitor or something that could track me?
On the New Mexico warrant, you would have to post that bond. So you would be required to post that bond in order to be eligible for release, but you're only release eligible on bond if you pick the second option.
Oh, okay.
If you pick the first option, you don't get released on bond. You stay in custody. You cannot be released.
Yeah, until New Mexico comes.
Until New Mexico comes to get you. You could potentially get released from New Mexico once you see a New Mexico judge, but I don't know whether they would let you come back to Arizona.
Oh, okay. I might just stick with the second one because I work here and I just moved not too long ago to Arizona, and I don't really tell them until when I'm going to go back to New Mexico because
you're
I'm
going.
New Mexico.
You're going
Okay.
whether you like it or
so
not,
you
buddy.
want to go with the second option and have an extradition
Door number
hearing
2.
and be bond eligible?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then I will set that hearing for February 3rd at 1:30 in the afternoon. You will have a $50,000 secured appearance bond. You can work with the bonding company to post that if you choose to. Please keep in mind, if you do post that bond, you have to stay in Arizona and go to all of your court proceedings. Any other questions, Mr. Walletto?
How much is the down payment of that 10%?
My general understanding is that bonding companies require between 10 and 20% up front. 10% of $50,000 would be $5,000. But if you want to go the bonding company route, I would say call some bonding companies when you get back into the jail. Check with them what their specific requirements are rather than just taking my word for it.
Okay.
All right. If you want to step back to your left, we'll get your paperwork out to you here in just
one quick question.
Sure.
So February 3rd at 1:30. What is that court gonna? Is it gonna be?
It's the first step in the extradition process. It will be another hearing where that extradition judge will determine again whether New Mexico intends to extradite you, and that judge will give you further instruction for the remaining extradition proceedings for the next potential 90 days.
Oh, okay. So it's just a court after a court then, right?
You'll probably have a series of court hearings. So you'll go the 3rd, you'll probably have another one 30 days after that, and then there will be a final one 30 days after that, unless governor's warrants are signed prior to that.
Okay, so it's just waiting in the process now. Yeah.
Damn, this guy
It's
just
going
doesn't
through
stop.
the process. It's probably a lot of waiting
Stop
on
it.
your end, yes, but there are legal things that will be happening on the back end.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. You can step back and get your paperwork. Oh, you already got your paperwork. Go ahead and step back with the officer.
Just go, be gone. He just don't get it. Nah, he's just acting. Sometimes these people just act. Hey, I want to know what he did in Nuevo Mexico. That's what I want to know, because he don't want to go back. Next, let's see what this
If you'll give me
next
just one quick second, please,
contestant
sir.
did. Let's see. Hey, only wrong answers and emojis. What did he do? What do you guys think this guy in the orange
Okay,
suit
can I
did?
have your name and date of birth, please?
Sean Medellin, March 23rd, 1986.
Medellin is how it's pronounced. Okay, thank you, Mr. Medellin. And I understand that I have a lawyer from the county attorney's office representing the state appearing on this matter. Appearance of counsel for the state, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Brooke Gahn on behalf of the state.
Good afternoon at this point now. Ms. Gaunt, thank you for being here. Okay, Mr. Medellin, you are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are 1 count of child sex trafficking. It is a class 2 felony, and 1 count of attempted sexual conduct with a minor. That's a class 6 felony. Based on my reading of the information provided to me by law enforcement in a document called a Form 4, I am inclined to find probable cause to support those allegations. Before I do that, any information or supplementation the state wishes the court to consider in terms of probable cause?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, I have found probable cause to support those allegations. Mr. Medellin, I have determined you are entitled to a court-appointed lawyer. I have appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference January 30th, and then you'll have a preliminary hearing February 3rd. Both of them will be at 8:30 in the morning, both in the Superior Court downtown. Before I consider or impose any release conditions, can I please hear argument or recommendation or both from the state?
Thank you, Your Honor. The state's asking for a $50,000 cash-only bond, along with electronic monitoring and no contact with any minors. This is based on the nature of the charges. The subject allegedly made arrangements to meet with what he believed to be a 16-year-old girl to engage in oral sex in exchange for money. The state believes that he is a danger to the community. Additionally, the state would ask the court to seal the Form 4 because it contains information regarding an ongoing law enforcement operation.
Okay, having heard and considered the state's motion to seal the Form 4, I will so order that the Form 4 in this matter remains sealed. Okay, so to the extent that is, well, it is an oral motion, it's granted, the Form 4 is sealed. Okay, Mr. Medellin, I will give you an opportunity to address the court. I will caution you very strongly to proceed carefully. You do not have a lawyer in here representing you. You've heard the state's lawyer is on the line. Anything that you say can be used against you. So I caution you against making any statements regarding the facts about why you're here, but I am willing to entertain anything that you wish the court to consider in terms of release conditions.
This was my first offense. I've learned my lesson. Trust me, being in orange and being cold in the cell all day, I will never do this again. You will never see me in this courtroom again. And I've learned my lesson. I'm not doing that again.
Okay. Having heard and considered argument and recommendations from both parties in this matter, I do note, Mr. Medellin, that you do not have a criminal history. My review of your criminal history indicates no prior failures to appear in court hearings, no prior criminal convictions, whether they be felony or misdemeanor. I do hear and acknowledge the state's position, though, that based on the nature of the allegations in this case, those allegations in and of themselves create an inference that you pose a substantial risk of harm to minors in the community. For that reason, I am inclined to impose a bond in this case. I will set this at a $25,000 cash-only bond. If that bond is posted, Arizona law does require you to be affixed with an ankle monitor prior to release. If you post that bond and you are released from custody, you cannot have contact with any minors. I am also prohibiting you from accessing the internet through any electronic means if you are released, with the exception of employment purposes.
You're welcome.
You may access the internet for any employment purposes. You also cannot possess any drugs without a valid prescription if you're released from custody. Anything else I need to address, Ms. Gahn?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Medellin.
I have a question.
Sure.
If I have the ankle monitor, would I be okay to go to work and come back?
Yes, I'm not imposing a requirement of house arrest, so I'm not suggesting that you cannot leave your house. You just have to be affixed with the ankle monitor so that your movement is tracked.
And then that's $2,500. You said
it's $25,000 and it's cash. It's a $25,000 cash only bond.
All right, cool. At least you made it cash.
So I can't call.
No, you can't call.
You could try. I've heard conflicting information from people on that. I've heard some people tell me that bonding companies will not work with cash bonds. I've heard some people tell me there are some that will. So it won't hurt for you to call some and see if you can find one that will work with you. I don't know whether you will or not.
Could we consider lowering it a little bit? I mean, I'm not a threat.
So you heard the state request a $50,000, or was it $75,000?
50, yeah.
So they requested a $50,000 cash bond. So to the extent that you're asking me to lower that, I already have down to 25. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Paperwork, I think, is ready? Yes. Okay, you can step back to your left. Okay, thanks for being here, Ms. Gaunt. You are free to be excused.
No bueno. No bueno. Absolutely not. No bueno.
Okay, number 31 on the calendar, Antonio Salgado, date of birth 12/7/67, is not in the courtroom because he is being housed at the Lower Buckeye Jail and was unavailable for transport. I was able to conduct an initial appearance hearing with him by phone prior to this calendar. On that hearing, I informed him that he was here on a failure to appear warrant issued by the Tolleson Municipal Court on a misdemeanor liquor allegation, and that he was entitled to a lawyer for purposes of release conditions. I gave him his next court hearing date, which was an arraignment hearing February 3rd at 8:30, and told him he had a $50 secured appearance bond. Number 29 on the calendar, Kyle Blair, date of birth 8/27/97, is not in the courtroom because he was unable to function in general population due to making threats. He is here on allegations of new charges. Those allegations are 1 count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, a Class 3 felony, and 1 count of assault, a Class 1 misdemeanor. I have found probable cause to support those allegations and appointed a lawyer to defend him. His next court hearings will be a status conference January 30th and a preliminary hearing February 3rd, both at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown, and he has a $100,000 secured appearance bond. Number 10 on the calendar, Adriana Rochelle Murray, date of birth 4/15/97, is not in the courtroom because she was unable to function in general population due to refusing orders. She is here on 2 probation violation warrants. In both cases, petitions to revoke her probation allege she has violated terms 3 and 5. I've appointed a lawyer for her in both cases. Her next court hearing will be a revocation arraignment January 31st at 8:30, and she has a total bond on these 2 warrants of $1,300 cash only. Last on the calendar, number 19, Kevin Sims, date of birth 2/12/85, is not in the courtroom because he was unable to function in general population due to bizarre behavior. He is here on an allegation of a new charge. That allegation is 1 count of disorderly conduct, a class 1 misdemeanor. Because that is a non-domestic violence misdemeanor allegation, he is not entitled to a court-appointed lawyer. His next court hearing will be an arraignment hearing February 12th at 1 o'clock in the Goodyear Municipal Court, and he will be released on his own recognizance. If anything changes after I visit those individual cell site, I will come back in and update this recording. Otherwise, this court will stand in recess until 2 p.m.
Damn, we had a good run today. We've been on for 4 hours. The next court is going to be up in the next few hours. If you haven't done so, please do so. Go ahead and hit that follow button. It's free 99. And also, if you could go ahead and check out my other streaming platforms. I'm trying to grow over there too. Highly appreciate it. I've been doing these daily. I normally try to start at about 7 a.m. Catch the first one from Maricopa. Then we'll catch the second one, which would be Pima County. And then we'll jump back to Maricopa. Right now, I got to take a break. But, hey, definitely follow. We're trying to get to that 20,000 subscriber mark, trying to have the channel grow. Also, if you guys could follow me on my second channel that I'm trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers so I could go ahead and start streaming just in case this channel ever goes down, I would highly appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and pin it right here on the screen.